From Salt Lake City, Utah, this is Heart of the Matter, and we talk about all things on Heart of the Matter, but especially relative to the faith Christianity. I'm sitting here with my longtime brother and friend, Carl Moore, and he's going to tell us about himself. But Carl is, to me, I don't study what he does or what he's about, but he's kind of like a tornado. He is out there involved. I see his picture in the news. I just recently learned about an arrest. He is out there fighting the fight for what he believes to be good and true. And so we're going to talk about Carl and what he's doing, what he's thinking. And then I want to ask him, because I want to learn from him while you do. Now, you guys know that usually we have political Carl was just talking about, we have extremes. We have the super conservative, we have the super liberal, and we have these different things. You've heard of asexual? I am totally apolitical. I don't give a schnit about that stuff, but I do care about people, and I do care about being a Christian, and I think Carl cares about the same. He has some views that we're going to hear about, so let's hear it. Carl, give us because you have so much, a 5-minute summary of who you are, where you came from, why you're here, and where you're going.
Oh, the plan of salvation?
Yeah.
Okay. No, anyway, my name's Carl Moore, and I would appreciate it if people would follow what I do so that they can be better engaged and involved in what I do. So if they follow me on Facebook, that's probably the best way. But so I grew up in Utah County. My parents went to BYU, grew up LDS, left the LDS religion or faith when I was 35 years old. Even maybe a year or two before that, I actually was watching you on Heart of the Matter. Anyway, so I grew up LDS, really secure in that faith, really an apologist for that faith. I do Native American dancing. I was dancing everywhere. I was basically bearing my testimony everywhere that I went. I'm talking about Lamanites, how the Lamanite, or my Hopi culture, how it was so similar to the LDS religion and stuff like that. So I was always using these things to elevate the LDS church. So that was that. Married really young, has 7 kids. My wife of 21 years. She always knew I was an asshole, but anyway, she realized that we got married so young, and she didn't have that experience, that life experience of being younger. Anyway, I could let her speak for herself, but anyway, so she basically kicked me out. Was that 5 years ago? So I mean, that's that. When it comes to my history, I guess I was a framing contractor, so I framed homes until 2008. 2008 hit, I laid everybody off, lost everything, except for my family, which was a good thing to get perspective on what really matters. It isn't about the things, it's about your family being healthy. That's really what the core was. So that happened. I ended up going to school. My tribe pays for us to go to school, and just to dispel a misconception, my tribe pays for my schooling through the money that they make from their business ventures. It doesn't have to do with the government. My tribe makes money to pay us to go to school. So anyway,
business ventures, what are they? What are their business ventures?
Business venture. Well, they have business gas stations, a casino. I mean, we could talk about that and sovereignty and all. There's so many issues, right? But anyway, I went to school for political science, got a bachelor's degree in political science, minored in American Indian Studies, went to UVU. I don't know. And then from there, being exposed to different thinking or learning how to think, I realized at that point, I always knew that I was in a bubble, but I didn't realize how much this bubble influences me. It's just like Mormonism. It's just like growing up in any culture, in any religious worldview. You have a tendency to think that it's already been figured out, right? And so I figured I learned how to think, I would say. And through my leaving the church, I went from Mormonism. My eyes were open through God. It was a gift of grace and mercy that God opened my eyes, and I knew that was wrong. So it was. So I spent. Sorry, I'm backing up, but I spent a lot of time just going to Christian churches. I went to 3 churches every Sunday just to hear the word. And at that point, I wasn't into the worship, the singing. I want them to shut up so I could listen to what they were saying. Now it's kind of reversed. I really enjoy the worship. I love the singing. I love praising God. I love that. But I was going to 3 churches, Provo Baptist, Fellowship Bible Church in Linden, and Centerpoint Church down in Utah. So, and then a lot of studying. So, and then I started doing Christian apologetics. I mean, I did a lot of stuff with Aaron Shafawalov, with a lot of groups that came up from the Bible Belt, a lot of Baptist groups. In fact, they sent me back to one of those, the Send conferences.
Send conference?
I went to a Send conference.
What's that?
The Send conference?
Yeah.
That's like their mission. That's like when they're like really getting people hyped up to go out and do mission work.
Is
Send.
it S-I-N?
No, Send.
Oh, Send. Okay.
S-E-N-D. Which is interesting you say that because it had a lot to do with Cincinnati, but they call it Sin City or Cincy or something like that. And I was like, I kept hearing the sin, but Cincinnati. Anyway, went back there. Actually, met the person who, what's his name? Ken Ham. He took us on a personal tour through his joint.
Wow.
So I mean,
is that the Ark or through the?
Not the Ark, because the Ark wasn't built at that time. But I did go through his creation museum, which is another topic, But Ken Ham, I love the guy. He's so he is so humble, and anyway. That's a different story.
So while you're talking, just really quickly on Ken Ham. So are you a young earther, old earther? Do you believe in a worldwide flood? Since Ken Ham is.
So me personally, I don't believe in a worldwide flood. I do believe that Christianity and science are they're one and the same. In fact, you cannot verify science. Science can't exist if there isn't a standard to rely on to be that, right? So yeah, I don't believe in a worldwide flood. I believe that the words that were used in the Bible are for the people, and they understood what was going on because it was their culture. It was their hyperbole. It was their usage of words that they can understand. Just like I mean. Yeah, we could talk about so many. Evolution. I believe in microevolution. I don't believe in macroevolution. I don't see there's any evidence to show how macroevolution has ever happened. We've never seen it. A dog is always going to be a dog. It can evolve into other dogs, but a dog is always going to be a dog.
So that adds in a creator.
Yeah, there's a creator. Like our systems, our body systems, like our heart needs our lungs needs our mind needs our heart, all of these systems, how can you unless it was an instantaneous action? But anyway, so.
I told you, tornado. I said it.
I did a lot of apologetics, yeah. So I went down to Manti pageant, with some groups. It did some apologetics there.
How'd you like that?
At the time, so my method was I would dance. I would do my hoop dance, and I would have people sing, and while they were listening, while they were getting ready to watch me hoop dance, I would talk. My method is talking about the gift of God, the grace of God, and who God is. That was my message, and just kind of getting away from the religiosity of religionism, of legalism, and. Anyway, so.
By the way, I got to say to our audience, his hoop dancing is amazing. He is really, really talented. And I think I was at a funeral and I saw him do that.
For my mother-in-law,
was it for Kay
Brown? Yeah.
And you did a dance there, and you did share your message with the audience that was non-religious, but was very beautiful. So very good stuff. Yeah,
which is kind of, that goes to. Kind of where I'm at right now is I believe I find that Christianity, the Christian worldview or for perspective makes the most sense when you're looking at logically, it gives you the most information that you can logically deduce to being oh, that makes sense. I believe that the Creator is bigger than any religion. I think that the Creator, we come from a church that says it's the only true church, right? I think that is such a naive and arrogant statement, and then I think that actually extends to Christianity as well. How can you limit God and God's sovereignty and God's sovereign ability to speak to every single one of His creations in the way that the Creator feels? And I like to use I understand that in the Bible, God had a gender, but that was because it was relating to culture. I like to leave it ambiguous, and because once we start using God and saying he, that does psychological damage to us as men, and it gives us complexes. And I live my life trying to reconcile my complexes of where I come from. So I use they them for God.
I see. Do you think Jesus was a he?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And just with your more open view that God is bigger than all religions, and do you think Jesus is central to salvation, or is that?
I do.
You do.
I think I believe that God came in the form of Jesus. I believe that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. I believe that. I think that Yeshua is God incarnate. I believe that there needs to be an atonement for our sins. I believe that the penalty for sin is death. I believe that Jesus did that. I don't believe that you don't need to know the name Jesus, which is a ridiculous notion, because Jesus, the J-E-S-U-S, didn't exist until it came about. Right. J-E-S-U-S. Right. So we keep using these words, and what we're doing is we're looking past the essence of God. Really? And so that kind of goes to my point, is like, God is bigger. I think that in the indigenous culture, I do a lot of indigenous ceremony. I pray in an indigenous way. I pray in a Christian way. Like, I believe that who I'm praying to is the creator of everything. What I find is, and what I really try to do is get people to really analyze themselves and really pay attention to themselves, believing that they are right, and that their worldview is the correct worldview, because that does a lot of damage, because it creates arrogance, and that creates the world we live in right now, especially in the United States of colonialism. I mean, we've got people that came here from manifest destiny, using God, using this Christianity as a tool to say, hey, or the papal bull, manifest. What is that? I always forget this word. Not manifest destiny. It's what the papal bull, it's the Roman Catholic Church said. They use that as a way to say, if they're not Christian, you can go there and you can take them over, right? I don't know where I was going with that. I have a really big problem with the European worldview of what Christianity is. People don't understand that it all comes from a Roman Catholic perspective. All of it does. If you're Protestant, Roman Catholic, it all comes from that perspective, which is what Yeshua said, mixed with Greek ideologies. Absolutely. Yeah. It's mixed with Greek ideologies. So, and when you have that Greek influence, the Greek influence had its own perception on hierarchies. The hierarchy of man, the great chain of being, like God, angels, men, plants, animals, plants, all of those things.
So you would push back against that, and you would take Jesus, Yeshua, and Yahweh in a much more unreligious way. So I would imagine that American evangelicalism is reprehensible to you.
Well, if somebody's going to say USA number one, for one, or to legitimize the United States Constitution, that is one, is you're ignorant. Two is that is one of the most arrogant statements that you could ever make, because of how the United States Constitution was formed, because of how America was formed, because of the way that people think it's their land, because of the songs that we sing. This land is your land, this land is my land. This concept of, we're a melting pot and we're all diverse and we're all immigrants or whatever. It's all comes from a place of privilege, and people don't understand what they're doing is they're looking past the fact that the foundation of this country was built on murder, was built on land theft. And when you validate the United States Constitution, you are validating murder. You are validating land theft. That's what you're doing.
So are you saying, because I'm ignorant, Carl, with this because I don't study it, are you saying that the U.S. Constitution directly supports land theft and murder? I'm
saying that the United States Constitution validates land theft and Turk, because basically that's the government, right? That's what the law appeals to. That's what the executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch, all those branches appeal to the United States Constitution.
I see.
And because they appeal to the United States Constitution for that, and what that validates, essentially it validates the theft of land and murder, because that's how it came about.
So you're saying that when theft and murder was going on, that people used the U.S. Constitution to justify those acts?
I'm not saying that they did it like they didn't consciously think it. I'm just saying that that is what it does.
How? What's the connection?
Well, let's say this is okay. So we have laws, right? Like I'm held to certain laws, right?
Sure.
Okay. So if I was all indigenous, why would I be held to that law?
Got it. Okay.
Why? That's immoral. Like, because that's a foreign government. That's foreign peoples coming in, which is interesting because they came here for freedom of religion. They came here because they were oppressed, but yet they oppressed the people.
I see.
Right?
I see.
But yet they take away freedoms from the indigenous people. And a lot of people say, well, you're free and you have all this stuff and whatever. Are we? We're not. All reservations, all tribes, we're all plenary to the state. We all have to, sure, we have our own governments or whatever, which are governments that were given to us, that we had to make governments in order for us to have reservations that had to look like the United States government, because they believed in this like government to government interaction between executives, right? Which wasn't our way of doing things.
Right.
That wasn't our way. I don't know where I'm going, but
it's okay. You're full of information. You're passionate. So what you're suggesting from just listening to you is that the indigenous peoples here, Columbus or whoever comes over, and the Europeans start preying upon people who were here first, and start imposing upon them their ideals of what freedom was, government was, everything else. And so that may be the case. It sounds like it's the case. I can't disagree with that. But what does that have to do with right now? I mean, are you saying because it was founded on that, we now have a corrupt system entirely?
Yeah.
I see.
Because, I mean, if the roots are bad, the whole thing is bad. Like we can make good things and good things can come about. But so you need to understand that I'm not necessarily giving like the answer to like how does that be corrected.
Okay.
How does reparations happen or whatever? Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying at the core of everything is that people really need to one thing that I fight for is that people really need to be cognizant of their own hypocrisies. And cognitive dissonance runs rampant in American ideology, in American perspective.
Doesn't it
also
run
in
rampant
Mormonism?
in humanism?
Yes, it does. It does. But the reason why I picked that out is because that's the culture that we're in.
Got it.
So that's the other thing. Is like I'm talking specifically about this culture, right?
Here,
yes,
Utah.
I'm talking about Utah and the United States of America. That's what I'm specifically talking about, because a lot of people will skirt that and they'll say, well, this happens everywhere, just like conquering and whatever. Like, what does that matter? What does that matter if people historically have always conquered people, whatever? One is you cannot verify that, because my people, who did they conquer? It's a position of ignorance and arrogance.
Didn't they conquer each other?
The Hopi people? You tell me who the Hopi people conquered.
No, but I mean, weren't tribes at war with each other?
Sure. But let me tell you this, because a lot of people say that you don't understand. Like I've talked to so many. This is what I did all summer long during Black Lives Matter movement, is I talked to all these pro-Trumper people, all these Blue Lives Matter people, all these militia people, all these people, and I'm just exposing them for their ignorance. They're like, it is so, it's just this spewing of ignorance.
Well, I admit my ignorance, Carl, I really do. And I'm not a Trump person, I'm not a political person, but I do want to understand. It's hard for me to believe that every Native American tribe was peaceful.
Right, okay, well, let me get to this point. Okay, so let me tell you this, is, so true, there were tribes warring, whatever, against each other. That is between the tribes, right? That's in between them, us. That has nothing to do with Europeans. Europeans, they're infighting, all of that stuff, that's between them. That's for them to decide. That's for them to work out.
So you are claiming there's an us versus them with Native Americans and then Europeans, but then it seems like you would also be for there not being any differences, that everybody is equal and the same. That anybody is a human and they should be treated as such.
Sure.
But at the same time, are you saying that there should be a difference between a Native American and a European?
No, and this gets to another one of my points is when we're talking about things on indigenous land, the indigenous perspective takes precedence over any perspective. The indigenous sovereignty, the indigenous mandate from the Creator themselves to take care of our place, that's between us and the Creator. Okay. So here because I hear what you're saying. Again, I've like heard so many things.
I bet you have.
Like, if I'm saying worry about, like, Europeans can do whatever ideologies they want to if it's in Europe. When we're talking about colonialism, if we're talking about imperialism, if we're talking about capitalism, like all of those concepts that were developed and figured out, like those only have moral validity in the place where they're their own people. You cannot go into another place and impose it. It's interesting because those same people that would say, well, we need a border wall. We need to keep these Mexicans out of here. We need to keep these Muslims out of here. Why? Why? Like, what is their thinking? Why? Mm-hmm. Because they think they're going to take over. They think that they're going to impose their law, their perspectives. That's exactly what their people did.
I don't disagree with you, but I think you're talking about human nature. I don't think you're talking...
Sure. Okay,
and we're all humans. So
we're all humans, but the Creator put people in different places, correct?
Yeah, sure. But he also had people migrate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone migrated somewhere, sure. But when those people migrated those were the first people there, right?
Not necessarily. I think when the immigrants from Europe came here, they weren't the first people here.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying is when indigenous people came here, I mean,
they had to have come from somewhere.
Exactly. We all came from Africa.
Okay.
I would say we all came from Africa.
All right.
And I'm saying that God, the Creator, led people different places, or we went to different places. What I'm trying to say is that the indigenous people here, as far as we know, were here before Europeans, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay, that right there, that's all anybody needs to know. Europeans came after. Indigenous people first. Europeans had no right to come into indigenous land and do anything.
Okay.
What happens between indigenous people, that's what happens between indigenous people. Europeans should leave out of that. They have to keep out of that because they have no moral...
Okay.
They have nothing to say with that.
So,
but hold on, really fast.
All right.
Hopi people, this is what I'm trying to say I'm trying to ask you and everyone out there, who did Hopi people take over?
I don't know anything about
They didn't take anybody over. See, this is the thing.
So should the Hopi people be the ones who reign?
They reign in their own land.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the thing is, I believe in sovereignty of people in their own place.
Now, Carl, you said that you're not saying that anything can be done at this point about it.
No. Okay, something can be done.
What can be done when we look at America today and what you're talking about and where we are now? What exactly can be done?
Education.
Okay.
Like education is key. Like we need to really educate our people about the history of how this country came about, how Christianity did so much violence, because people really need to see that, and they need to understand that we benefit from the atrocities that happened in the past.
And what would be the benefit of the education?
Well, just right here, we live on stolen land. I live on stolen land.
What would you hope to come about as a result of this? Let's say the education was ubiquitous. All the children in kindergarten on up to college all learned what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. What is your hope that would happen through education in their lives? What would you want them to do?
That they would have, they would understand their moral responsibility to look after the indigenous people's sovereignty. So that would mean, like, okay, say we live here in Utah, which I'm a visitor. Like my people, my father's people are Hopi. They're from Arizona. My mother's people, English, Irish, German, they're from Europe. My mom's dad is half Mexican from Sonora. He's half Chemehuevi from Lake Havasu area. Everybody's indigenous to somewhere. Everybody has roots to somewhere. But so why would they go to somewhere else and tell the indigenous people what to do in their place? They have their own place. What I'm trying to say here, hold on. It's education.
Okay.
Because we grow up in an arrogant society. We grow up in an arrogant society where we pledge allegiance to a flag, which is, it's actually really disgusting. And I know a lot of people have a lot of emotive value in this flag. And P.S., my son's in the United States military right now. And my father served in the Vietnam War. He's a Marine in the Vietnam War. And he retired from the 19th Special Forces or whatever. Like, okay, so we need to understand our place. I need to know my place. and I need to know what the indigenous people's struggles are, which it would be like missing and murdered indigenous women. It would be fighting for Bears Ears. It would be fighting for sovereignty. Like when we have this state that is it's a state that is continually trying to take away the indigenous sovereignties. Like we had President Trump, like his second executive order was to let a pipeline go through indigenous land. Okay. That was his second order, was to violate indigenous sovereignty. And then we have Zinke come here a couple years ago, and then he takes away Bears Ears, the only national monument that indigenous people ever wanted. The only one. It's looking out for the indigenous people where you're at.
And I'm just trying to understand truly. I am not being a devil's advocate.
You can be.
No, I can't because I don't know anything.
Okay.
But Carl, what would it look like in Utah today, March 14th, if the indigenous people, the Utes, if everybody gave them the attention that you want them to receive for their history? What would it look like? I don't understand what it looks like.
What would it look like? I don't know. This is the thing, is that's the prerogative of the Utes, the Shoshones, the Goshutes, the Paiutes. That's their prerogative. That's up to them to decide.
So what if they said, within our tribe, it is appropriate for our history to kill people who infringe upon our land? Are you saying, well, that should be honored because that's what they've done historically as a people?
I believe in their sovereignty, yes.
Okay.
Which is interesting because you use that, but yet that's exactly what the United States of America did. Well, that's exactly what the pioneers did.
There's nothing against them as a people wearing their dress. There's nothing against them, even though they could be discriminated against, I guess, by individuals. But there's nothing legally against them expressing their culture.
Okay, again, you just referred to legality. This is what I'm saying, is a lot of people appeal to legality, but yet they don't appeal to morality.
I think it's immoral to kill somebody who crosses across your land.
Okay, again, you just said some things there. You, in that statement, you implied that it's their land. Did you not? That's their land.
I'm speaking your language.
Exactly, but that's their land, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's their land to decide, because you're talking about killing people, but you're violating their law. You're violating their law. You're crossing
not knowing that corner's theirs. You cross that corner, you're saying they should have the indigenous right to kill them because that's how they live on their land.
I'm saying that they have this is the thing, is like we make a lot of assumptions. We assume that that's going to happen. We're looking.
It's just an example.
I know, but this is what we do. Is we this is where, like, really having the ability to think and not assume and just let things be. I would appreciate that for people, because you set up a scenario, which is a hypothetical scenario. What I'm saying is that indigenous people should have the ability to say what happens within their God-given land. That's something that the Americans don't. They look past that. It's like, well, it's not their given land, it's our given land. That's exactly what the United States Constitution did. It's our land. It's our land.
I get the argument. What I just don't get, and I understand what you're saying. What I don't get is I don't see there being a solution. In what you seem to be geared towards solutions. You want change.
Yeah. Okay, then the change starts with the acknowledgement that we're all on stolen land. That's myself. I have a moral obligation.
Does anybody disagree with that?
See, here's the problem. Is so many people don't disagree with that, but yet they live in their privilege.
What are we supposed to do? Things. We were born here. I mean,
is that? But that's not. See, but you're using that as an excuse to not.
It's not an excuse. It's a reality. I was born in this country.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. And I was too.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing, is I'm in the same position as you.
How do you go back to your dad's heritage, which was different from your mother's? How do you decide where you're at with all this? We live in such an amalgamation of genetics and everything. How do you do that? No, I really want to get to the solution.
See, but this is the thing, is like, but you keep jumping from here to there. You're making this leap.
Really?
What I want to have happen is for people to reconcile their own hypocrisies.
Okay.
Reconcile their hypocrisies. Is murder wrong? One. Is murdering people wrong?
It depends.
Okay. Murder is wrong. Like, to make a person die, or to, I would say that murder in and of itself, the way that I conceptualize murder is
different from killing.
Yes, murder.
Okay. Murder is wrong. Okay, I'll agree with you.
It's theft wrong. If something belongs to you and you steal it, is that wrong?
Okay.
Is that wrong?
Again, I'm based on all circumstances.
Okay, if I went to a place first, let me give you this scenario. I have a family, I have a home, okay, which is essentially our own unit, our own government, okay. If your family comes into mine and overpowers me and conquers me, because that's what's been happening all over the world, right? Yeah. You come in and you conquer me and you kill some of my kids and you tell us, okay, well, we're going to let you stay alive, but you're going to go live over here. And then you live in my home. Yeah. You live on my land. You start farming it. You raise all these crops. You do everything, right? Yeah. That's what you do. Okay, let's say 10 generations pass by. Did the murder happen? Was that wrong?
Okay, yeah.
Did the theft happen? Was that wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, so if my ancestors at some point say, hey, what happened was wrong, that never should have happened, okay, who has the moral right to that property? Okay. Who has the moral right to that property?
Okay, again, I don't think it's as black as white.
I'm not talking like a realistic, I'm not talking like how we do that. I'm talking, it's my words. So, who has the moral right to the property? So you're just talking
about theoretically?
No, well, okay, theoretically, but what I'm saying is, who has the moral right to that property?
Well, I can't say the original.
How can you not?
Because we've had so many generations go by and different people have done different things that just because someone's born on stolen property doesn't mean that isn't their property and the other people.
Are you serious?
Yes.
So I can go into your house and I can steal your house?
No, because what happens is today we stop that from happening. But you're talking about a long time ago.
No, I'm talking about right now.
What's happening now?
No, I'm saying in my scenario, I don't know how you're doing. See, this is exactly, you are really feeding into the mindset that I'm trying to fight here.
I am not of any mindset. I really am of myself, Carl.
I know. But is there a statute of limitation on morality?
Again, that's not the question.
That's my question.
Yeah, but it's not a reasonable question.
Why not?
Because even the law doesn't have a statute of limitations on morality.
What are you referring to in the law? What are you appealing to in the law?
Well, there's statutory.
What are you appealing to?
Okay, like rape, for instance. Okay. There is a limit of time. After that, it's done.
And you're appealing to a law. I'm appealing to morality.
Okay, okay, what more? Okay, if morality's been infringed upon, then you are suggesting that something can be done to fix that.
I'm not suggesting. I'm not suggesting. I'm asking questions. I'm not giving suggestions.
Okay, so again, all I'm saying is I don't see a solution to all your arguments. Your arguments may be sound, brother, but I don't see the solution.
We're not even getting there. This is the problem, is that you can't even admit. This is a problem, is you're not even admitting.
No, I admit the land was stolen from the Native Americans. I admit it.
Okay.
I don't think there's a solution today that we can do anything about that.
Well, there is a solution.
Again, what is it?
Okay. But I'm trying to get to the point this is the thing, is you keep jumping. You are from a privileged mindset of like, this is the way that it is. I hear this all the time. This is the way it is. Can't we all just get along? All this blah, 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 you know?
But aren't you from a privileged mindset?
Exactly. Yes,
so
I am.
So then how are you arguing if you're from a privileged mindset?
What do you mean?
How are you having this side of you if you come from a privileged mindset too?
Oh, because I have to reconcile all of my, I believe that I don't have all the right perspectives, but every perspective that I have, I believe that I've reconciled.
Don't we all think that?
Yes, we all think that.
So
look, I want people to decide for themselves. If you listen to me, if you listen to what I say, because you keep jumping to something else. I'm talking about morality.
I don't think I'm jumping.
You are jumping.
Okay, Carl, I'll agree that you think I'm jumping, but all I'm saying to you is, I don't see, I'm not arguing that the land was stolen from the indigenous people.
Okay.
I'm not arguing that rapes and murders didn't occur of them.
Right.
But I am arguing that in the history of the world with human beings, who are fallible, there's always a might versus right. You're trying to argue a utopian ideal that doesn't work.
No, I haven't even argued a utopian ideal. I'm trying to talk about responsibility. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about people need to understand.
But Carl, I've asked you, what is the point of the education? What do you hope it will lend to?
Okay. I'll tell you something.
Okay.
But here's the problem: is when we have conversations, there's a lot of information that I could tell you. And I'm trying to get to the heart of it.
Okay. I like the heart of the matter.
Exactly. I'm trying, because you keep jumping to something.
You keep saying that. I don't think I'm jumping. I think I'm trying to stick to the principle here.
But
you
what
are
I'm going to
protesting. I want to know what you want to be done.
I want people to listen to indigenous voices, which would be, if there is an election, you have a moral responsibility to see what those candidates, what is their platform? What are they what are they pushing for? Are they in line with the indigenous people? If they're in line with the indigenous people, they would be a better choice than people who are not in line with the indigenous people. So working within the system, working within the United States Constitution, in the system that we have, an electoral system, that is one thing. That's you actively, you have a moral obligation to look for those people who are looking out for the indigenous people's rights.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
It's a calm question. So are you suggesting that the indigenous people, because they were here first, have a better grasp on what should be done here than perhaps another people?
I'm not going to say better, but I'm going to say that they have moral standing to place. They have moral standing to location. Because again, this is what the Christian mindset did, is they came in and they said, oh, pagans, they don't know God, they don't understand things, we're here to conquer and take over.
No doubt. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, your mic fell.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, right. So, what people aren't allowing, because I fight for indigenous sovereignty, both political and sacred sovereignty, is that...
No idea what those terms mean, but it's okay. Just keep going.
Well, in sacred sovereignty, it's a matter of letting us define, or letting us tell you, like if I come to you and I say, hey, our people, God told our people to take care of this place. Our God told us we need to be nice to people.
Where did God tell your people to take care of this place?
Where?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me back up, because I can't believe you just said that.
No, it's a question.
Okay,
so
yeah,
I'm looking for an answer, not an explanation. I'm looking for an answer.
Every tribe has been talked to or spoken to by the divine somehow.
Okay, so there's the assumption that the divine has inserted itself with the tribe, and therefore we should trust that the divine spoke truth to them, and their purview is what we should go by. That sounds like the Catholic Church saying the divine stepped in and told them to do something. Yeah.
Okay, but I know, but again, I'm talking about first peoples to first places, and relying on God and trusting God that God put people in places to take care of the plain, to take care of the land. Let me tell you.
To cultivate the land and pull the weeds and grow crops, fine.
And take care of each other as human beings.
That's fine. That people do that no matter who they are.
Okay, what's your point?
My point is, I don't see your point. I don't see where God told everybody, you've moved to this corner of the United States, you should have reign over the whole thing. That doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, no. Hold on, you just said something there. I would never say that. One thing that we need to establish here is that there are over 500, 600. When people came, there were over 600 indigenous groups with their own governments.
Okay, I stand corrected.
With their own governments.
Okay, I stand corrected.
This is the problem.
So 500 or 600 indigenous groups are here, and God told every one of them, do what you want in this part of the country, and this is yours forever.
I cannot, okay.
I don't see where he said that, Carl.
Oh man, you are so feeding into this Eurocentric mindset.
But where did he say it?
Okay.
He told Adam and Eve.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this.
Okay, you can't believe it. That's okay. But wait. Let me just stick to.
Okay.
He told Adam and Eve in the garden, "This is your garden."
How do we know this? How do we know that?
From the Bible.
And when was the Bible written?
So okay, I don't want to argue that. I want to know what. No. Carl, I can
because I could write something down too, like Moses did.
Okay, you can go.
And I could go back, right?
Carl,
I'm saying this.
Carl, I'm asking you where it's written. That's what I'm asking you.
Okay, I can talk for the Hopi people. On the Hopi people, it is written on our walls. It is written. It has the story. It has the migration story. It says God came here. It has two paths. It has the creation. It has and then it'll split. People will split into two. Like it is on our walls.
Okay, it's on your walls.
Right. But let me tell you this. So it's like you are coming from this.
You keep telling me where I'm coming from and I'm jumping. I'm just asking you really reasonable questions.
I know, but you are discounting. If I said it was a story,
okay, I want to know.
Okay. But if I say somebody told me that, you would discount it, correct? Because you just did that.
If somebody told you verbally?
Yes.
I wouldn't discount it. I would say, well, tell me, where did they get it?
Okay, but essentially you're discounting it because what you want is...
To questions, not to discount.
I understand. Well, it is to discount.
No, it's not. It's to ask, where did they get it?
Okay, and if I say, I don't know, then what would you say?
then I would say, well, I would try to find out where it came from and originated from, because
Carl, if you couldn't, then
you've
what?
said several times, God has given this land to these 600, 500, 600 tribes. You've made that statement as if it were an affirmative fact. I just want to know where the fact comes from. That's all I've asked. And you laugh at me, but I'm serious. I don't know.
I know you're serious. I absolutely know you're serious.
So you're laughing at my ignorance. That's fine. I can be ignorant. But tell me, I mean, you keep making that assertion, but I don't understand it. Now, let me just talk for a minute. What I understand is human nature.
Right.
Whether you're native or black or white or female or male, human nature is when you move into an area, you're going to start doing things your way. And if you have might, you will probably wrongly take advantage of that situation. That's happened in every country in the world. You seem to think that America is this place that we need to look at the original people here and do something to fix that and operate by this antiquated approach. No, that's human. That's the fallen world. You're a Christian. That's the fallen world, Carl.
Yeah, oh wow.
What do you want
you use the term antiquated.
How do you want to fix the fallen world? How are you fixing the fallen world? Do you think that you can legislate people to be better to each other?
Why are we even going into
Because you're a Christian, this is a Christian show, and you're spouting all of this stuff, but I want to know how you're going to fix it. Is it my responsibility to fix it?
You're trying to. Okay, hold on. Is it my responsibility to fix it?
I don't think it's your responsibility.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
How could it be? Because you don't have a solution. How could it be? In your limited perspective, how are you going to fix something that you can't?
I just gave you a solution, didn't I?
No. What is it?
I did. I said in this world that we live in, you look for the candidates who fall in line with the indigenous people. I gave you that. That's a solution.
Okay, so you look for the candidates, and what do you do with them? You empower them to have supremacy over the other peoples in the group? You empower the Ute tribe to have supremacy over everybody else who's moved here over the past 170 years?
Oh my goodness.
No, is that what you're saying? I'm asking.
That would be good. That would be good. That would be the moral responsibility of people here.
Okay, guess what? This is a fallen world, and the moral responsibility, the utopian responsibility that you're operating by, all it amounts to is protesting. But it doesn't amount to any real solution.
Okay, again, So
then I jumped.
Yes.
I jumped then.
And that is what I see is people jump.
Okay, so you can accuse me of jumping, but I don't understand it.
I know you don't understand it.
Especially as a believer, because I don't understand these pronouncements on everything in a fallen world when men have always done this. Is that
morally right? Because you
never morally right.
Okay,
Nothing's morally right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, why are you vying for morally right when we aren't morally right? You're never going to get that, Carl.
Okay, You were asking. Okay, you assume that it's like it's a total moral reconciliation or something like that, like from people. I don't know where you're getting this from.
Okay, so you see it as individually people are changing.
I see that individually people have the moral responsibility to understand their perspective and to rectify their perspective and not to live hypocritically. If you believe that it is wrong for people to steal your land, then what comes out of that? Then you don't steal anyone else's land, right?
Sure.
If somebody steals your land...
I don't see myself stealing people's land today.
What's that?
I don't see myself stealing anybody's land.
And why is that? Because it's immoral? Because it's wrong?
Yeah, it's immoral. It's wrong.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. It's like morality is already...
Who's stealing the land that you're trying to stop from stealing the land in today's day?
In today?
2021.
Bears Ears, the Utah Lands Initiative, the Public Lands Initiative.
Okay.
Standing Rock, like there's all of these things. People are stealing land.
Now, I'm right with you now. So now you have examples of, to modern day, someone stealing land at Bears Ears. So I don't see any problem with fighting for Bears Ears to remain indigenous or under the control of those indigenous people. But that's not what you've been talking about. You've been talking about this whole system in Salt Lake City for the Utes to come in and run the government of Salt Lake City.
Which would be the morally right thing to do.
You're not going to get morals in a fallen world.
I'm not asking. Okay, I'm not. Here's the thing: is like You're asking me questions, and I'm telling you what's morally right. I'm not saying that this is a realistic thing.
So if it's not realistic, why argue it?
Because that's when people can start thinking, and they can start understanding their own hypocrisies.
Okay.
Because this world and the United States is full of hypocrisies.
Okay, now I understand better.
So if people would just listen to the words that I say, it'd be good.
I'm listening to you. I am, Carl.
Okay.
I've listened to what you said.
No, I'm talking to like the audience too, because this is a problem that I have.
So what it is you're doing, and this is what gets mixed up, and now I understand you better, is that when you protest and you have a cause, what you're saying is you want people to think about what you're saying so that they individually can overcome their own hypocrisies. What you're not saying is you have a better way to do things, and that things will be solved.
I'm saying that I have a unique way, and that generally people don't understand my way or haven't been presented with my way.
Right.
They get presented by the Democratic way and the Republican way.
Okay.
They rarely get the indigenous perspective.
Right.
And that is where I come in.
There's a reason for that. We're not all indigenous.
Yeah, but you're on indigenous land, so
no one cares.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why would I care that I'm on indigenous land?
Because it's stolen land. Because you benefit from stolen land.
I pay my taxes. I clean the street.
You pay taxes, and who did the taxes go to? To the people that stole the land.
Okay. No, it didn't go to the people who stole the land. It goes to a government that monitors our land today.
Municipality. I understand these things.
Okay, right. I know you understand them. So what I'm saying is, to me, it seems like you're fighting against something that occurred long ago. The people today, you laugh that I don't care. How could I care? I'm not indigenous. How could I care? It doesn't apply to anything this generation has done.
I'm just saying, for people, you are an example of privilege.
So are you.
Exactly.
You're sitting in a free country.
Okay, let's go back. You're assuming that I'm in a free country. Now,
are you speaking freely? Has someone put a gun to your head and killed you for the things you're saying?
As an indigenous person in my own land, wouldn't that be the proper thing for me to do? I would have been free in my own land, correct? Does it take the United States Constitution to make me free?
Again, you're ignoring the fact of how human beings work.
Why?
In a fallen world.
I can't believe.
I can't believe I'm talking to a man who understands Christ, who broke down the middle partition, who said there's no difference between males and females.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I'm not understanding anything that he says. There's no difference between races. I'm not understanding a man who makes his cause against certain groups and for other groups when there could be Christians on that side. That there could be Christian people who are doing, and you are dividing the body. Is that not true?
I don't know.
Wait, is that not true? I know you're big Black Lives Matter, right?
I'm absolutely for Black Lives Matter, yes.
So if you have a police officer who's a Christian, he's there doing his job, and you're on the other side and you're saying he should be defunded, I mean, aren't you?
Well, we have to have a conversation on what defunding the police means.
No,
because I think there's a lot of assumptions on what defunding the police means.
Okay, so I've misused that.
Let me tell you something about that police officer. Let's talk about that police officer.
Let's talk about the principle first.
Okay.
Because that's what I brought up.
Okay.
You're fighting brother against brother. I don't understand how you would fight brother against brother in the name of Christ when you're dividing people up I mean, what about the people who they live by Christ? They follow faith. They want to love.
If you truly live by Christ.
Here we go. Let's hear it, brother.
Okay, thank you. What Christ is for loving each other, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How does he define that love?
By mercy, by grace, by forgiveness, by empathy.
Then let's forgive.
Okay. Why did Christ need to die?
Sins of the world.
Okay. He rectified that, right?
Yeah.
Reconciliation.
Yeah.
So we understand that reconciliation should happen for sin, for violations, right?
No, we understand Christ reconciled the world to the Father. That's what it was for.
Okay, I'm talking about the reason for it. I'm talking about the principle of reconciliation.
Okay, yeah. And how do you reconcile sin in your world?
In my world?
Yeah, in your life. If someone sins against you, how do you reconcile that
sin?
Sins
against me?
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with the person who sins. That's for them to rectify.
You just forgive them, right?
Yes.
So then what is this whole movement about? Can't you forgive the guys who stole the land and raped the women 100 years ago?
Yeah, I forgive them. I don't even know them.
But you speak of them as if it's present tense.
No. You just made an assumption. I speak of people now that live from the benefit of those things.
I see.
We benefit. Myself, I benefit. I live here. I benefit. The job, the occupations that I have or whatever, it's all benefiting from
But aren't
stolen
you being
land.
hypocritical by speaking against it when you live by it yourself? How did
I
you
acknowledge
get here?
my hypocrite. I acknowledge
So is that
my
all you want
hypocrisy.
is people to acknowledge it?
At the base, I want that.
So let me do this.
At the base.
I acknowledge publicly.
Okay, but
No,
what are you
let
going to
me
do about
acknowledge.
that? But what are you going to do
See,
about it?
So it's not just acknowledging. It's
At the
doing
root,
something.
I said at the root you acknowledge. That's what I'm trying to get to for a majority of the people. Majority of the people don't even acknowledge it.
Okay. So there's a step then. You want them to first acknowledge, and that will lead them to, because if they acknowledge, that won't be enough for you. It's like the Christian who says, just confess Jesus, and you do, and then they say, now start wearing the right clothes and not.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say that.
So,
Hell
but that's
no.
what you're doing with your cause. You're saying, first acknowledge,
Why-
and
why-
then if I acknowledge, you say, then what are you doing about it? So acknowledging isn't enough.
Love is a verb, right? Faith without works is dead, right?
Okay?
Right?
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
This is what I'm saying. Something needs to come out of the
The
acknowledgement.
works are forgiveness. The works are patience.
Okay.
The works are kindness.
Okay, so if I murdered your wife, does that person does he go to jail? I mean, do you care if that person goes to jail? Do you care?
My concern is not jail. My concern
Is what?
forgiveness.
Well, okay, so that person can keep going on, and you don't want anything to happen to that person because all your concern is about is forgiveness.
In my life,
Yes.
my concern is forgiveness.
Okay, so I really hope that does not happen.
Well, I hope it doesn't happen for
Oh,
you
whoa.
either, because you want some people to govern us who have no experience in governing a nation.
Oh, well, okay, so that's another privileged mindset. You assume that indigenous people don't know how to govern.
No,
That's an assumption,
no,
right?
I'm saying
That's what you just said.
Yeah. Okay, I assumed it. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big assumption.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty dead on.
Again, that is such an arrogant assumption.
Yeah, there is arrogance with me. It's true. On assumptions like these.
Oh, that is very.
But brother, there's arrogance with you.
Sad. There is arrogance with me.
That's right.
Yes.
And I admit mine, you admit yours.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm definitely not going to tell a group of people that they don't know how to govern
I
themselves.
didn't say they don't know how to govern.
You think that the way that we're governed now is better than the way that they would govern.
Well,
is that true?
Just from my experience and what I see.
Your
yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
How much experience have you had with
No, not me being
tribal governance?
experienced. Looking at what's done.
How much experience do you have with tribal governance?
Well, the experience I have with it is they make casinos.
Okay.
I don't think casinos is a good way to do things.
Okay.
So you asked me my experience.
Okay.
The way they want to make money.
I want people to realize this is your experience.
The way they want to make money
casinos.
when they have the right to do whatever they want is to build casinos.
They really don't have the right because they're planning to the state.
wait.
This is another misconception.
Okay, so
People
now
don't
I'm wrong in
understand-
that.
People don't understand what tribes
Wait,
are limited
aren't
to
the
and what they have to do.
The Hopis can only do a casino?
They can't. They don't do.
Is that the moral way to govern? By building casinos?
Hold on. Okay, again. Hopi people don't have casinos. The tribe that I belong to, the Colorado River Indian tribes, they have a casino.
Okay, so
Hopi people do not have a
should
casino.
we trust people who govern an area that decide to build casinos as the way to govern it? Should we trust them as being superior to another group that says, hey, we're just going to...
It has nothing to do with superiority. It has to do with people's place. It has to do with location. Location. It has to do with not bringing in foreign ideologies and foreign mindsets and imposing them on people that are foreigners, that are indigenous.
How much time do we have left? 50 in? We have 10 minutes, Carl. What else do you want to say that you're about?
Here's my standards. We're all related. We are all related
I agree.
at the core. All of us are beings. I believe that beingship extends to the plants, the animals, the air, everything. Like we are all beings. We're all God's creation. There is a purpose. The value from us is a value that comes from God. That's why I do what I do, because we have a moral responsibility to each other to take care of each other. Okay? And when there are things that are happening, when people are being violated, when beings are being violated, when they're being oppressed, when they're being discriminated against, it is our moral obligation to fight against those things. However that is, I don't know. I'm not prescribing anything. I'm just saying that something needs to happen because we're all related. I also believe that we're all related. We're all indigenous to somewhere. I'm not going to go to England and tell people in England how to do things. I'm not going to go to Africa and tell people in Africa how to do things. Why? Because that's immoral. That is wrong.
I think that's a supposition, brother. I think that...
What?
Well,
That's not wrong? That's right?
Yeah, I can't go to Ireland where my forefathers came from and tell them how to do things.
and I can't go anywhere because it's not up to me. Like, this is the thing. Like, you're assuming a lot of things about me and my perception.
Me. I said I can't go to Ireland.
Okay.
And go back to Ireland and tell them how to.
But what does that matter? But what does that matter?
It doesn't matter at all. That's my point.
So why say it?
You're saying it. I'm not saying it.
No. I did not tell you to go to Ireland and do it. I'm saying that historically, the Irish people, when they set up their government, when they set up their things, they can decide for that. That's what I'm saying.
I see.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're resisting the imperialistic nature of America for putting its footprint on the throat of other countries and telling them how to do what they do, things like that.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
My main concern is for standing up for the oppressed, for standing up for the unsheltered people. Like, I don't know if anybody knows what I do.
Well, tell them.
I fight. I every single day I go out and I love unsheltered people. I give them what they need, and I make sure that they're sheltered. That's every single day of my life. Right now, for the past 3 months. Before that, I was in the Black Lives Matter movement, and I went and I gave my indigenous perspective, and I prayed and I marched for them, because until Black Lives Matter, all lives don't matter. You know, like, again, we have all these stupid things, and then let me talk about the police officer though, because this is important. Is I am not against people. People can do whatever they want to. I am against systems that validate and support and perpetuate human rights violations. Okay. I'm against systems, not against people. Okay. And I understand that people get into these professions and they do those things. People have the ability, they have the free will, they have the ability to say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to interact with that, you know? It's like I got arrested at an abatement. I got arrested for trying to help people out.
Okay.
I got arrested.
All right, okay, so that's a lot. So, Carl, let me understand.
Yeah.
You're not against people. You want people to have the freedom to do whatever they want. You're against systems. You said that, right?
Okay, no, I don't think that people should be able to do whatever they want, because I don't think that people should be allowed to violate other people's personal sovereignty in their sacred sovereignty and their sovereignty to life. And that's not saying that we don't have any kind of a system where you keep people away from dangerous people. I'm not saying that. And I just went off on a little thing. I can't remember what your question was, because my mind is weird.
So I just wonder, you're saying that, I thought you said people should be free. You're against systems that oppress.
I'm against the systems, yes. What we need to do is recognize that certain systems were built. Let me tell you this, because this is weird. I mean, this isn't weird, but the United States Constitution inherently is supremacist to the people that make that. And supremacist I'm not saying they came up with it and said, oh, we're going to be the best and we're going to be this and we're going to oppress people. No, because that's the way things happen. They come out of our minds, and anything comes out of your mind, it's going to be through your worldview, right? So the United States Constitution came through white men's worldviews that came from European ideologies. Therefore, the systems that come underneath it are supporting that to the best. Like, they naturally do that. I'm not saying they intended it naturally. So we have this white Eurocentric supremacist organization, right? Mm-hmm. At which every other organization that comes under it, which would be the police departments or whatever, like, everybody comes from the culture. Everyone like all those police officers, they come out of the culture. It's not like they're trained to profile. It's not like they're trained to discriminate. It just comes from us naturally.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. So I'm saying that the culture needs to change. We need to change the culture. The culture needs to change. And from that culture, our kids and whatever, then we can change.
So are you saying, when you say Black Lives Matter,
yes, what
you're really saying is not Black culture matters? You say, because we need to change culture, right?
Well, I mean, not necessarily. Okay, I don't know exactly what you're saying, but let me tell you this. What I'm saying when I say Black Lives Matter is that, very simply, Black lives matter. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And I'm saying that it is inherent in our culture that Black people, that we have stereotypes and we assume things.
Some people do.
Okay, hold on. We all have stereotypes. We all do that. I admit that. You admit that. We all do.
Okay.
I'm not assuming what yours is.
Okay. All right.
But I'm just saying.
Keep going.
Is that because of the media? I mean, they've done tests on colors, shades of skin, like who's the bad person, who's that. They go with the darkest of the dark, right? I mean, we've had these experiments where you have lineups and they go to the dark person. Oh, they did it. I'm saying that's inherent in our mind, or they're scary, you know, and so I'm scared, so I'm going to shoot this person, right? And And again, like Black Lives Matter is about, for me, it's about police understanding the system they're in and then them being able to control their emotions. Them being able to rectify with themselves on like, why am I scared? Why am I going to shoot this person? Should I perhaps hold back?
Are there police who already understand that?
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Yeah.
Sure. Do you think it's a minority?
In that understanding?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So you're just talking about there are some police who will see a black person and consider them guilty and have a violent reaction toward them. But
I'm going to say that our culture teaches people to do that. And everyone comes out of that culture.
Doesn't human nature teach people to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But that's neither here nor there.
Can you change human nature?
You can't change human nature, but you can educate and you can reconcile with your own belief. That's why we all need to present. That's why I appreciate you and you give perspectives. That's what we all need to be doing is reconcile our perspectives.
Yeah. I have no problem with it, and I have no problem with you sharing it. That's why you're here.
Right.
But I will ask questions, and I will say when I don't agree with something or don't understand it. Yeah. And I think you have that same right. And that leads me to one final point that I want to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah.
And I believe in the old understanding of classical liberalism, which states, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, that there are no classes, there are no people. That if people started just saying, I don't care if you're white, black, red, yellow, woman, male, I don't see you as differently. I don't care if you're gay, bi, straight, hetero, whatever, all those probably being the same. I don't see you as unique. I see you as a human being. What is wrong with that perspective, that I see all people as human beings?
Okay, we can get to that. That is the end goal. We cannot get to that until we recognize that there are people with color. Like people that say I'm colorblind, this is the problem, is we have to admit that person, sorry, I just lost my train of thought because you're smiling. I'm saying that we have to see color right now. Because until we do that
goes opposite of the solution.
Okay.
The solution is to say, I don't see color. I see a person.
Yeah, but we can't get to that because we haven't even been able to acknowledge. How is anything going to change until we acknowledge that some people are violated more than other people?
By teaching the principles that people are equal, all people, it doesn't matter.
I agree, people are equal. I agree with that.
In every way, so don't segregate them into groups. See, I don't see indigenous people as different. I don't see you as different than Patrick at all. I don't see you as different than Ethan. You are a human being that has feelings.
Yeah.
So why go these other ways and not just educate people to just the Christian ethos, not the what they've done, to just love people for what they are.
We should do that.
Okay.
We should do that. We should teach people to love people who they are. What I'm saying is that what you just said there, that, okay. I don't know. This would take a lot. There's something inherently wrong with what you said.
I'd like to know what it is.
I know, and I don't know how to.
Let me just give you one more thing. I'm going to let you have the last word.
Yeah.
This is a building, and we have 5 people come in. One is a homosexual. One is a Native American. One's a black person wearing a suit and tie, and another's an Irish guy wearing gangster clothing. Mm-hmm. And they all say, I'm a gangster, I'm a black American, and I'm a lesbian, and I want LGBTQ. And I say, I don't give a fuck what you want.
Right.
Okay. I don't care. I care who you are as a person. Who you sleep with, what you do, that's your business.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in approaching the world that way?
No.
Okay. Then you're agreeing with classical liberalism. And I agree with you. That is the solution. I've been trying to get a solution out of you.
I gave
and I'm
you
hearing
some solutions.
Warfare. Those are not viable. You've admitted.
Electing people is not viable. Electing people is warfare?
You have said they will not change the entire system. What I'm talking to you will. It will if people stop looking at classes and started looking at everybody as human race. I think you're arguing for the opposite. Go ahead. You get to wrap it up. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. You made a jump. And you're getting to the end goal. And I agree with the end goal. That is what we really need to be doing.
Okay.
That is the end goal. I'm saying that as of right now, education needs to happen. And the education needs to happen on responsibility. and the responsibility is to know where you're at, know whose place you're in, and figure out how you can best support those people to whose place that you are in that you benefit from.
Okay.
Which are education, like just like your conversation, a lot of people, like I can tell that people really need to like understand who we are as a people, like as indigenous people. Like there's a lot of assumptions, and these are all assumptions.
You're nothing to me. You are a person. You're not an indigenous person. You're not. You're a person. I refuse to give you the title indigenous person or gay person or black person.
Okay,
I refuse, Carl.
Okay, that's fine. But in that, you are resting in your privilege.
That one I will say, whew. I don't want people to see me as a fat man, someone who doesn't work out and who overeats. I don't want them to see me as a white privileged man. I want them to see me for my merits.
I just said privilege, by the way. Okay. I didn't say white privilege. I
don't
said
want
privilege.
them to see me as someone privileged. I want them to see me for my merits, what I'm about, what I do, and my demerits. See me for what I am. I don't want a title. I don't want a category. And I think those hurt us in the end. But we've gone back and forth. I want you to know as we wrap it up, I've always loved you. I will always love you as you are, everything you do. I don't care what it is. I care about you.
Sure.
And the people that you care about, I care about them too. I care about homeless people, and if that's what they are. They are without a house, so you can call them that. It's not like a stigma. But, whatever. It's a long topic. We could have you on here, and we could talk probably for weeks. But I appreciate you coming on and articulating your passion. And
yeah, no, I appreciate you, Shawn, and I appreciate the platform. I really think that there needs to be more conversations about this because, yeah. Anyway, but I love you. Yeah,
love you too. We'll see you next week on Heart of the Matter. You should have a talk with Ethan now.
Yeah, that could be a whole hour-long special show.
Give me a hug. Hold on.
Yeah.